Hello, we're live. This is our first LinkedIn Live. Hello, I'm Alan Ibbotson, and I am an executive coach and the chief WYDAF here at Wisdom You Didn't Ask For, #WYDAF. Thanks for joining us. It is very exciting today because this is our first one. And for those of you that watch WYDAF, you know that I put out weekly videos of wisdom you didn't ask for, but suddenly can't lead without. And of course, that is simply wisdom that you don't get anywhere else. It's the kind of stuff that HR won't teach you, that you won't get a class on, but that I bring to you from basically my 20 years of executive coaching and in little bite-sized nuggets. And it was about time that I stopped really just hearing my own voice and I started to bring other people to the table for this, because I know so many brilliant people. And I wanted to give you the benefit of hearing from them as well. So here we are with LinkedIn Live, and it's so exciting. So I am going to tell you a little bit about what to expect today. We're going to have a fabulous, amazing guest, Vivienne Duebbert, who is an international speaker and mindset expert. And she's one of the people that I go to for advice. And there's not many of those. So I'm thrilled that she's joining us today, all the way from Germany. Jay, we have Jay, who's running the show today. He's backstage in the production room. Jay, do we have any idea where Vivienne is right now? Is she on her way? Any messages? Oh, yes, typical of Vivienne. She is taking this winging it thing probably a little bit too literally. What time was that? Is she any closer? Anyone any closer to the? Oh, she's getting closer. She's getting closer. Oh, wonderful. So hopefully now she's one more floor to go and she should be with us. Vivienne, are you there? Are you here? Are you in the green room? Where are you? Are you here yet, Vivienne?
Hello.
Hi, Vivienne.
Hello, hi. I am here. Yeah, I just made it off the wall of this huge building.
That was a very quick change, darling. That was a very quick change, and you look fabulous already.
I'm a pro in winging it.
How do you do it? I just don't know.
Oh my goodness, I'm telling you, that was quite a challenge. Yes, but yeah, as you said, I'm taking winging it very, very literally.
So just so everybody knows, like, you don't usually fly into sessions like this, and that's not our building. But tell us, that was yesterday, right? You sent me these pictures. I was like, what is she doing?
Yes, absolutely. That was yesterday. I was preparing together with a bunch of coaches and speakers, Gabriel Schandl, for example, and Jochen Schweitzer, who has this huge arena of adventure. And we were preparing for a seminar that's going to happen at the end of November. So what happened here was house running. Obviously, since we will be the coaches, the mental coaches for the participants, we had to do it ourselves. So I said yes to the project without even thinking about it. And then all of a sudden it was like, well, we have to climb up this ladder of 30 meters, which was really, really narrow. And then on top of the building, obviously you have to go towards the edge and then sort of get into the horizontal position and then walk down. And I was just thinking, who does this stuff? But in the end, it was all worth it. It was hilarious. It was amazing. I learned a lot about myself, and we will be maybe even talking about that as well. So it has a lot to do with your mindset. It has a lot to do with your mental strength. And yeah, here I am. I survived.
Well, I know you're brave, but I know just how brave you were to do that. There's absolutely no way.
Yeah, you didn't see me. You didn't see me up there. I was like literally thinking, oh my God. Plus there was no plan B because I would have had to walk back down this ladder. So it's like, okay, here I am. Live your life.
Just live your life. Which is your amazing motto, right? Live your life. So Vivienne, would you just tell everybody a little bit about yourself? I'm so happy you're here. Thanks for joining me today.
Well, thank you for having me here on this amazing LinkedIn Live. I feel very honored to be your first guest here on your LinkedIn Live Wisdom You Didn't Ask For. And hello, everyone. I see the comments coming in.
Yeah.
I see that you are here today. It's amazing. Good morning. It's wonderful that you are here. So yes, as you said, my job is to be a keynote speaker, and my mission is to transmit mental strategies to people in order to better leave their comfort zones, in order to try something new, in order to deal with adversity, with stress, with challenges and change. And my story, I'm going to try to make it short, I promise you.
Tell us.
My story started when I was 19. I went to New York, and we know each other from the beautiful city of New York. And I stayed there for 6 years. And afterwards, I went to Paris for 5 years. And then I came back to Germany. And recently, about 7 years ago, I was retail director for the brand Kiehl's in Germany. And I loved being retail director. I loved the brand. But what happened was, at some point, my mother, she interrupted me and she asked me, where did my radiant, happy daughter go? And that kind of like struck me into my heart right away, this question. And I was thinking, okay, I'm doing what I love, what I'm loving, but I'm not kind of setting boundaries towards myself and towards the stress and towards all the workload. And I love the quote, love it, change it, or leave it. And this is kind of what motivated me then to completely change my life in a way, to change my perspective. And I'm going to make the story short. I went to Bali. I opened up an Ayurvedic spa there. I became a yoga teacher. I went to India. I learned about Ayurveda. As I said, I learned about yoga. And then when I came back to Germany, I really wanted to get into the subject of personal development. And this is how my business now started to grow, because I began as a coach and then as a trainer and now as a keynote speaker. And my sort of favorite subjects are mindset, how to apply a growth mindset into your daily life, especially in the world that we're living in right now. And also when it comes to emotional intelligence, how can I be more adaptable, more agile, also emotionally agile, which we will be talking about later on, I believe, from Dr. Susan David, who I'm a big fan of. So this is what kind of it grew in a way, like, you know, I was planting a seed, and then it grew to this passion of transmitting these mental strategies that I'm using on myself. And yesterday, I used myself as a guinea
you did.
Yesterday. So for this house running, I was thinking, okay, first of all, I was thinking, I'm not going to be able to do it because I'm really afraid of heights. And then I was thinking, okay, talking about fake it till you make it, in a way, who am I saying that you can strengthen your mindset if I'm not applying it myself and I'm not using the mental strategies? And this is how I applied mental training. I had a hypnosis session in the morning with a great coach, and I did all sorts of stuff. So to make that story short, it is my mission to transmit these strategies that I personally use as well, and that I believe in, to people in the work world, especially. I work mainly with big corporations and all over, whether it's in the sports industry, whether it's in the cosmetics industry, whether it's in the pharma industry or in the food industry, no matter what, even lawyers, so all over the place. Because in the end, and that's going to be my last sentence because I don't want to bore you too much. In the end, you know, I realized that we have the world that we're living in right now. We have come from a nice to have when it comes to mental strategies and when it comes to mental health strategies, to a must-have. In my opinion, we are in an era right now that it is our responsibility as leaders, but not only as leaders, also as independents or as employees or as parents or as friends or as
for each other.
Absolutely.
And that's a really good point there, is because you and I are on opposite sides of the Atlantic, not necessarily the world, but certainly the Atlantic, right? And we're 5-6 hours apart, depending on the time. But and for those of you that are watching, where do people who do this work go when they themselves need a little bit of a kick in the pants or a bit of a lift? I go to Vivienne, okay, and Vivienne comes to me. We do that for each other. because there are even when you're doing this and working on this stuff, you still need a little bit of a boost every now and again, a little bit of perspective. I think the thing is that we all get stuck sometimes. And it's important to have your go-to person and strategies to sort of help you through. So thank you for joining me, Vivienne, giving us that like wonderful intro. And I want to we've got some great comments going on, like Lynn Kwaselski, hi, thanks for joining us. Tara's here, yay, Tara's here.
Oh my God, I love this story. Yeah. This is a radio.
Tara, not the HR lady. Watch her show, Not the HR Lady, on YouTube and LinkedIn. It is amazing. And
Jake Parker, my American brother,
here. Yeah, Howard Handler is here.
Great.
We've got some awesome people here. So thank you for joining us. So let's get into it, shall we? Let's get into it. So as you know, Vivienne, so back in the summer, over the summer, I think it was in June, I made a WYDAF video, one of my WYDAF videos, called Rest in Peace, Fake It Till You Make It. I went on a bit of a tear about this idea that fake it till you make it was one of these phrases that just, kind of has lived on. And I just hate it because it says to me that you're a fake, you're a phony, and you're basically just like dialing it in at best. And you're kind of hoping that nobody notices and that you kind of get away with it, right? And I don't know anybody like that. I don't know about you. And I mean, I have in my time, and they're no longer around. But I don't believe in that philosophy at all. But I do believe in winging it, right? I do believe in this ability to be able to improvise and to be scrappy and to be entrepreneurial, right? And so I put that out there as a message to the world, and it sort of started a conversation, and I started to get messages about it. So I put a poll out just last week about whether or not people found it to be like a positive or a negative thing, right? So it was fascinating. I was so surprised to see the results. So here is how it shook out. Like, here were the results of the poll, right? So here it is, a quick poll. As you can see, do you think of the term wing it as something positive or mostly negative? It was basically neck and neck. It was basically neck and neck. And there was a point at which it ran like mostly negative, and then it sort of like skewed back to positive, and it was literally 50-50 at one point. And I was like, I have never seen a poll be like 50-50 ever on LinkedIn. There's always like, sort of 70 plus percent. And then, it was just such a surprise. And it kind of like struck me that this was something that people had different definitions of. And people were seeing it differently, and it was partially about sort of like perspective, right, and experience, and some of it was like kind of mindset. So I'm thrilled that you're here to talk about this because it's such an interesting topic, and we had like hundreds of comments, and they really sort of like spanned what sort of ran the gamut. So maybe we can look at a couple of the comments. So positive comments. So Vivienne Manning-Schafel is a brilliant writer in New York, and just kind of said it so succinctly. I mean, literally in 6 words. I don't think it gets any better than that. And that is an indicator of her writing. So follow her on LinkedIn as well. It connotes thinking on your feet. Erin made me laugh out loud. She's a plan-hating winger. I mean, I just thought that was the best thing ever. I'm a plan-hating winger. And then somebody, sort of shot back, and they were a wing-hating planner. So who knows? But so Vivienne, what is your thought on this? Where did you fall? Where did you vote? I'm dying to know.
Well, I voted positive. However, I have to admit, when you contacted me, you said, "Come on, let's do this LinkedIn Live on winging it." Remember, I was telling you, well, I want to make sure that people do not misunderstand, because for me, quality is extremely important. And my highest value is honesty and authenticity. So yes, I agree with you that I agree with myself that it's positive. The things that we say in interviews. I agree that it's on the one hand a positive because it is about a growth mindset, and it is about from the positive side of view, it is about going one step and the next step, and not so much into perfectionism. Because what I realized in our days is that, especially in the time that we're living in, since we have so much information available to us and we have so much competition, no matter what industry you're in, you have a lot of competition. And so in the end, a lot of us strive obviously for perfection, and me included. And I feel like, especially when it comes to certain times, just like for right now, for example, during the pandemic, it's important to understand that perfectionism can also be obviously blocking. So I think that winging it in a way, the way I understand it, is yes, kind of taking the first step or simply doing it. However, I do not, and from my point of view, do not mean fake it till you make it, or I do not mean let's not prepare, or let's not plan, or let's just do whatever and then see what the outcome is. So it's sort of, and I completely understand that it's 50-50, because I can understand the negative connotation of people thinking, hey, well, we're living in a world where we do need more, maybe more honesty, more quality, more preparation, because a lot of the things are being done very quickly. So it's very ambiguous. And I feel that it really reflects the world that we're living in. It reflects the world's society that we're living in, that there are always two poles, right? And there are always two perceptions and two different views that one can have. And as I said, I personally believe, especially if you are if you are striving to do something new, not to completely overthink, and not to strive too much towards perfectionism, because then in the end you're waiting for the perfect moment, right?
Yeah.
And I always say that we pretend like there's like a final destination called happiness. Like, when I have more time, I'll take care of myself. When I get more money, I'll be happy. When I get this position, I'll be happy. When I'm employed, I'll be happy. When I'm self-employed, I'll be happy. When I have children, I'll be happy. When I don't have children, it's like we always
all these external things, right? It's really in here. Yeah.
exactly. And we're always waiting for the perfect moment in life. And I think that times have changed, and we're living in fast-paced times.
Yeah.
So it is important for us to be agile, to be flexible, to change our point of views, to do something different, to become a digital keynote speaker rather than 2 years ago speaking in front of a live audience.
To go live and hope for the best, darling. To go live and hope for the best, right? And everybody's here like giving us some great comments. I love what Kim said about where was it? What was the comment Kim made? Where is it? Dedication, discipline, and self-awareness enables the winging it. And I think that's absolutely right. And to me, it's about how you creatively on the fly can pull all of your skills and your attributes together, and maybe even your resources and your people, and kind of pull them together to actually find a solution to something, or to improvise, essentially, right? And to me, it's about a level of confidence that you need to have if you're going to be able to wing it well. So I do believe that winging it is actually a skill set in and of itself. It's a sort of a culmination of all the things that you've learned over the years. And then having the confidence to sort of step into that unknown, right? And have confidence in yourself that it will work out. Because there is only so much preparation that you can do, right? There's only so much preparation that we could do for today, like going live. It's like, I don't know what's going to happen, but we can put some nice graphics on it, and I can put my face on, and we'll go, and I will see what happens, right? You've got to have a little bit of faith in yourself, right? And I do think sometimes that comes with a little bit of age as well.
Well, and of course, and we saw that in the comments before our live, that of course there are differences, right? I mean, when you are a heart surgeon, we don't want you to wing it. We want you to really be at the perfectionism. So there is a huge difference, obviously, what exactly you are doing, but in general, when it comes to our lives, we tend to overthink. We tend to sometimes even over prepare. Or, for example, like I said earlier, the beginning of the pandemic, everything got canceled or got postponed. I had no idea, am I still going to be able to do the job that I'm doing? And at some point I was thinking, okay, let me see what I can do. Let me take the next step. What is the next step I can do right now in my situation? And this is how then I began to do it digitally. However, from my colleagues, there are some really amazing tech geeks. They have like huge, setup, and I'm like, oh my goodness, I have to have all this in order to be successful as a digital keynote speaker. And then in the end, at some point, I was thinking, you know what, I'm just gonna do it the best way I possibly can, and then I'm gonna see where it takes me, and then little by little, maybe add on to it. And I think this is what, in the end, was from my perspective, winging it, and therefore being successful in a completely new type of work in a way.
Yeah, awesome. Now with some people, however, thought of it as more of a negative thing, right? So,
Yes,
and
absolutely.
so, this was interesting too, to sort of find the different how people had different views on it, right? So, Stacy, for example, means making the best of it with the information that you have available, but I prefer to try and anticipate the obstacles before trying, right? So that can be difficult. That might, kind of slow you down, I guess, right? Juan said, personally, it's what I do when I choose not to be intentional. I'm rarely winging it when it's work that matters most to me. I think we both agree with that, right?
Absolutely. Yes.
Yeah. So, and then we had some people who are like sort of in the middle, right? They sort of had, well, it depends. I love this one from Megan. Megan, hi, I know you're watching. This cracked me up. I wouldn't wing it swallowing swords, as I know nothing about how to do that. But I feel pretty confident I have the background to stop me from crashing and burning or slicing into. She cracked me up. And of course, Linda Swain, it depends on the context, right? Sometimes it's positive and sometimes it's negative. So, I think, ultimately what this shakes out to for me is that everybody's right? It's positive and it's negative, and it's really about your judgment call as to whether or not, this is a good idea, in the moment. But back to this idea of it being a sort of a skill set, right? And sort of to tap into the idea of, of mindset. What is your advice, Vivienne, to people who maybe, are facing a challenge that is like, somewhat unknown, and they know that they can't, prepare too much for it, and they're nervous about it, right? So that for the people that kind of find it hard to wing it, what's your advice for them?
Well, in my opinion, what I really love is the quote of Jon Kabat-Zinn: "You can't stop the waves, but you can learn to surf." I pretty much always quote that when I hold a keynote speech, because it shows how, and I did this yesterday, I did surfing for the first time, and it showed me how, you fall into the water and then you get back up again, you fall, you get back up again. So that's number one. It's the growth mindset from, we all know that Dr. Carol Dweck, she's a pioneer of growth mindset, distinguishing between a growth mindset and a fixed mindset. And the growth mindset, what I really love is what she says, it's called the power of yet. Instead of saying, I can't do this, I can't do this yet. 2 years ago, when I said to myself, I don't know how to handle the situation, I don't know how to handle the situation yet. This yet is sort of, I'm sure you all know the quote that was accredited to Viktor Frankl. Who knows if he ever said it, but between stimulus and response, there's a space. And this yet is exactly this space, because it gives you the power and the freedom to really to really use your potential and to make mistakes.
Absolutely.
And I love what Jake Parker was saying. It's important to make the distinction between having confidence to go for it, but not faking it. You still strive to learn the most about it, be prepared as much as possible, but also be okay to make some mistakes along the way and accept that. And that is
not making perfect the enemy of perfectly good enough, right? Pro tip. I have a pro tip for everybody here on this one. If you're feeling, anxious or you're not sure, one of the things that I do with my coaching clients is if they find it difficult to, if they're sort of having impulse control issues, right? And they sort of just instinctively do something instead of like stopping and pausing, because as Vivienne said, in between stimulus and response, there is a space. And if you don't have a space and you're kind of quite impulsive and you jump into quickly, or you interrupt people, or you just instinctively do things without necessarily stopping to pause and think, which is a part of winging it, right? That ability to be able to kind of assess your situation and judge it accurately. I would say, what I say to people is, okay, piece of paper, left side thoughts, right side feelings. Write them down. What are you thinking? What are you feeling? How are your thoughts leading to your feelings? And then to look at that piece of paper and sort of say, okay, if that was a piece of paper from somebody else, would I advise them to act? Probably not. So I might say to them, okay, think about that one, take a breath, take a moment, right? And understand it's about developing emotional self-awareness, right? This idea of emotional self-awareness. And, you mentioned Susan David earlier on, and she talks a lot about emotional granularity, right? That ability to be able to actually identify an emotion, very specifically. Like I might feel anxious about this show, right? And say, well, I'm going to fail, right? And because I'm going to let people down who are supporting WYDAF, and I'm going to let them down, could be, and I'm going to fail. Or I could be anxious because I think people are laughing at me, right? And it's not, I'm going to make an idiot of myself. Okay. Well, one of them is about other people. It's about letting them down. It's about a sense of responsibility to others. And one is about my ego, right? So they're totally different things. So I'm feeling anxious, but I need to get to a level of understanding why, right? Yes. And I think if you're able to wing it well, then you are constantly aware of what you're feeling, why you're feeling it, and how it's affecting you, so that you can make better decisions on the fly, so you can wing it more effectively. So that piece to me is so important.
I would love to add on to that. What I love about Susan David's work is that she talks a lot about about self-compassion, about really understanding that every emotion also may have a positive aspect to it. And that a lot of times we tend to push emotions away, or we tend to hop on this trend of saying, oh, just think positive, and there's no problem, you're gonna get to it, yeah, you can do it, and I feel like it's so, especially in the times that we're living in, where empathy is important, where self-empathy is important, where self-awareness is important. I always go back to this advice in terms of when it comes to the emotions. I love the tip that you gave. And on top of it, I would love to add on to it. When you identify, for example, your fear, right? Fear of failing, or fear of not being loved, especially in, for example, a setting like this, right? We're having amazing comments, but we could have really, really challenging comments.
Yeah.
People could not like us, or we could fail, or whatever. So identifying the fear. And what I like to do is, first of all, when I identify it, you sort of, in a way, giving it a different, you sort of, in a way, creating a distance between yourself and the emotion. And I always feel like you can give the fear, like you can be led by your fear, or you can learn to dance with your fear. And when I was going back up that huge building yesterday, the fear was there, and the fear has a reason, obviously, to protect me. However, I understood that I was safe going up and I was safe going down. So in this moment, the fear was telling me stories. So I'm always, what I like to ask myself is, what I'm telling myself right now, or maybe if you have like this inner critic saying, oh, they don't like you, what you're saying is why it's bullshit, blah, blah, blah. I like to ask myself, okay, is this fact, or is it the story that I'm
story, right? Yeah, absolutely. I could not agree with you more. And that's really like the dialectical, right? The sort of the Stockdale paradox, which is that opposite things can be true at the same time. So you can be completely safe and absolutely terrified.
Yes.
Exactly. And being able to sort of get out of the emotional tsunami of the fear, all right, into the front part of your brain where you can say, I am safe, it is okay, I'm surrounded by good people, this is all, good. And being able to walk that line between those two things, knowing that you are terrified, accepting that as a normal part of what's happening to you at that particular moment, but also embracing that it's going to be okay, and not being so attached to the end result, right? There's a brilliant woman that I've worked with over the years called Caroline Costin. She's now, a friend, but she started, a suite of clinics around the country. And, she really teaches people not to be so attached to the end result and to be open-minded about what a good end result looks like, right? Because if you are open-minded about what an end result looks like, then you might actually be able to be more flexible, right? And wing it more effectively, because that's one of the skill sets, I think, of winging, is being able to be more flexible, right? And nimble, and kind of like roll with it a little bit.
And also to have the trust in the end, the trust that it will work out. Maybe it will not work out the way you want it to. However, it will work out if you have that trust. Like Steve Jobs, someone was writing about Steve Jobs earlier. Like he said, you can't connect the dots looking forward. You can only connect the dots looking backwards. And so in the end, it does, of course, I'm not talking about a huge personal tragedy. Those are, well, I'm talking about daily challenges that we all have. It does make sense in the end, and it does. And to have that trust in yourself, in your resources, and to always know that you can always regain those resources, and you can always wing it in a positive way.
Yeah, and I think to trust the people around you and ask for help, I think too, is an important thing, because how many of us got the book How to Cope and Succeed in a Pandemic While Working from Home and Parenting Your Kids and Taking Care of Your Dogs? How many of us got that book, Vivienne? Yeah, none of us, because nobody wrote it, right? We've had to wing it for the last 2 years practically, right? Exactly. And we've, most of us have kind of, managed to do that pretty well, and we're not necessarily giving ourselves credit for that, I think, right?
Yes, and this is the point. Give yourself credit for what you've achieved, and maybe even looking back in retrospective, always to look back and say, okay, these were really my milestones that I achieved. And a lot of times we forget them, right? Yeah. Because we're so focused on all the things that we still have to do or that we still want to do. But in the end, if we look back at our life, or if we look back at the past 2 years, I'm sure all of us, we have achieved a lot of things. So give yourself the credit, and in the end, hashtag be kind to yourself. Be kind to yourself and
live your life, Vivienne.
Live your life. Yes, and I love this T-shirt because it says "Life valuable for limited time only." And I think in the end, this is what my Live Your Life is all about. It is all about making the best out of what you have, and to have that sort of realistic optimism, not the let's just think positive, but the realistic optimism to look ahead and say, okay, what exactly can I do right now? And just like you said, Alan, if I don't know my way out, if I'm stuck in a way, who can I reach out to? Yeah. With whom can I exchange ideas, or have a talk, or simply have a small chat? And in the end, if we look, we find people who are always there. So
yes, and if you don't have anybody, don't worry, because you've got us, right?
Yay!
So Vivienne, how can people reach you? Because we've got to wrap up. We've been here for like half an hour. I can't believe it. So thank you for joining me, Vivienne. Okay, so tell us how to reach you and what you can do to help people, Vivienne.
Well, you guys can reach me pretty much on social media. I'm all over the place, whether you want it or not. Here and obviously on LinkedIn, Vivienne Duebbert. I'm on Instagram. I'm happy if you follow me there, Vivienne Duebbert as well. You can find me on Facebook. Of course, you can write me an email, info or vd@vivienneduebbert.com or info@vivienneduebbert.com. Or just here on LinkedIn, if you have any, if you need advice, or if you need some inspiration, or if you just want to exchange ideas, then I'm happy to support you. And in the end, as I said, be kind to yourself and give yourself that freedom to give things a try, and to also make mistakes. And at the end, trust yourself, trust the process, and live your life.
Live your life. Thank you, Vivienne, so much. So it's like the end already. I can't believe it. This has gone so fast. It
And
always
we
goes
have so
fast.
many comments that we weren't.
It's just amazing. Susan Scott, I love that we are all writing our own books. It's like there's so many people talking about, like, you know, the book. Where's the book? When's the book coming out? Thank you, Susan. Susan's going to be a guest, whether you know that.
Oh, that's great. Awesome.
So thank you again, Vivienne, for joining me. We've actually created a new LinkedIn group, which is going to be the new hub for all things WYDAF. So please come on over there and join us, because we're going to post all the WYDAFs there a day ahead of time. So you'll get to see them first, and we'll also be having some kind of private events and different things going on. So please join us over there. A new hub for WYDAF. It's over. I can't believe it. I know. We want to do it again. Will you come back? Because there are so many things that we can talk about. We just kind of like scratched the surface today, but there's so much.
I'm happy to come back, and I'm so amazed by all of you guys leaving comments.
Thank you, everyone. Yeah, great comments.
And it's amazing. Thank you so much for being here, for sharing this moment. And yes, please, I would love to come back. I have so much more to say. And I can't wait to see you again in New York. That would be amazing.
Yes. Get over here. Get over here. All right. Thanks, everybody, for watching. It's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you for your great comments and all your support and your messages. It's been great. I will see you in a couple of weeks for the next LinkedIn Live, and there's a new WYDAF coming next week. So see ya.
Bye.